In just 84 seconds, the world changed. 84 seconds. That was all it took for classified Pentagon war plans, worth $127 million in strategic intelligence, to disappear into the hands of foreign powers. Inside the House chamber, beneath the hum of television lights and the tension of a nation on edge, Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi laid down the evidence like a man who had finally stopped being afraid. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. The silence spoke louder than anything he could have shouted. The papers he placed on the committee table were no longer mere documents. They were confessions, wrapped in red stamps that read, "Top Secret." Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who had walked into the hearing with the confidence of a soldier decorated by history, now looked like a man watching his medals melt into shame. Behind him, FBI Director Kash Patel sat stiffly, his face unreadable but his eyes flickering with something darker than fear: recognition. They both knew that once those folders were opened, there would be no path back. It was April 30th, 2025, 3:17 in the afternoon. Room 2118 of the Rayburn House office building was airless, heavy with the gravity of something irreversible. The journalists seated along the back row barely breathed, their cameras trained like rifles on the men before them. Across America, millions tuned in, unaware that they were about to witness the most devastating revelation in the history of national security. When Chairman Adam Smith struck the gavel and called the hearing to order, the sound echoed like a warning shot. "This committee will now address matters of classified information security," he said. His tone was official, but his eyes betrayed the weight of what everyone in the room already suspected. This was not oversight. This was exposure. Pete Hegseth began with his rehearsed statement. His voice was the same one that had inspired troops on battlefields and won the trust of presidents. "My service to this nation has always placed American security above all else," he said firmly. "These allegations are baseless and politically motivated." The words were clean, polished, and hollow. Krishnamoorthi did not interrupt. He sat still, his fingers tapping lightly against the cover of the first folder. When Hegseth ended with a crisp salute, the congressman leaned forward. His tone was even, deliberate, surgical. "Mr. Secretary, you claim your actions have always protected American interests. Let us test that claim." He opened the folder. Cameras clicked. On March 15, 2025, at 2:47 in the morning, you accessed classified Pentagon servers containing the Thunderstrike contingency plans for potential conflict in the Taiwan Strait. These were not general briefings. These were operational blueprints: troop movement, naval positioning, weapons deployment. Hegseth shifted slightly in his seat. "As Defense Secretary, I routinely review classified materials relevant to my duties. I cannot discuss operational specifics in open session." Krishnamoorthi's response came with a slow, almost mournful precision. "Of course you cannot, but perhaps you can explain why. 13 minutes after your access, those same war plans appeared on servers traced to foreign intelligence networks in Beijing, Moscow, and Tehran." The room gasped. It was not the sound of surprise. It was disbelief. For a moment, even the air seemed to retreat. Reporters froze mid-keystroke. On the live feed, millions of Americans stared in silence. Hegseth's jaw flexed. "That is a serious allegation requiring serious proof," he said. The congressman smiled faintly. "And I have it." He opened the second folder. "Director Patel, since you are here, perhaps you can assist." He lifted a printed document. "This is an NSA intercept, time-stamped March 15, 3:03 a.m., 16 minutes after Secretary Hegseth's access. The transmission originated from Pentagon servers. The destination IPs belong to Chinese and Russian military intelligence nodes. Every camera in the chamber zoomed in. Patel's fingers twitched against the leather of his folio. His lips parted, but no words came immediately. Finally, he managed, "Without reviewing the technical data, I cannot comment on the authenticity or implications of this material." Krishnamoorthi's eyes hardened. "You cannot comment." That phrase, Director, has buried more truth than any spy ever could. He paused, letting the silence fill the space. "Your bureau received this intercept on March 16th. What investigative actions were taken?" Patel swallowed hard. The FBI follows established procedures. I cannot discuss ongoing investigations in public session. The congressman's voice sharpened. Ongoing investigations? That is curious. He pulled another document from the folder. Because this memorandum from your own office, dated March 17th, orders the immediate suspension of all investigative activity related to the Pentagon breach. It reads, quote, "Investigation suspended pending higher-level review. Director, what higher level ordered you to stop?" Patel's expression cracked just slightly. His voice dropped. Investigative decisions consider multiple factors: jurisdiction, resource allocation, coordination with other agencies. Multiple factors, Krishnamoorthi repeated softly. Let me show you one. He raised a photograph. The flash of the cameras reflected off its glossy surface. This was taken at Mar-a-Lago, March 18th. It shows you, Director Patel, meeting privately with President Trump and Secretary Hegseth, the day after you halted the investigation. The chamber stirred. Every head turned toward the photo. The implication landed like a detonation. This was not negligence. This was conspiracy. Hegseth tried to regain control. Congressman, even if such data transfers occurred, correlation does not equal causation. The Pentagon manages thousands of classified documents daily. Any pattern with foreign traffic could be coincidental. Coincidental? Krishnamoorthi laughed quietly. Let us examine this coincidence. He opened the fourth folder. A subpoenaed financial record from Deutsche Bank. A wire transfer of $3.7 million to an account under your wife's maiden name, dated March 19th, 4 days after the leak. The funds originated from a shell corporation tied to Chinese military intelligence. The sound that followed was not a gasp. It was a collective exhale of horror. Hegseth's composure broke. He stood abruptly, voice raised. These accusations are fabricated. I have served this nation with honor. With honor? Krishnamoorthi cut him off. Selling our war plans for Chinese money is not honor, Mr. Secretary. It is treason. And covering up that treason, Director Patel, makes you complicit. The hearing room erupted. Reporters shouted. Committee members demanded criminal referrals. The two men at the witness table looked less like officials and more like defendants awaiting judgment. But Krishnamoorthi was relentless. The financial trail is damning enough, he said. But it does not end there. He produced a final document. These are encrypted messages from Secretary Hegseth's personal device, sent the night before the breach. Quote, package ready for delivery tomorrow. Payment confirmed as discussed. The recipient, Colonel Wei Zhang, People's Liberation Army, Strategic Intelligence Division. There was no recovery from that. No lawyerly phrasing, no national flag pinned to the chest could erase it. Hegseth's eyes darted toward Patel, searching for help. None came. Congressman, Patel finally stammered, even if there were communications, the FBI suspended its inquiry to protect classified sources. Sources? Krishnamoorthi's tone turned icy. Director, allow me to refresh your memory. He lifted one final sheet. March 17th, 4:23 p.m. An email from you to Deputy Director Sarah Chen. It reads, investigation must be terminated immediately. Presidential directive received. No further action authorized. Patel's face drained of all color. He hesitated, then whispered, Presidential communications are privileged. I cannot discuss confidential directives. The congressman leaned forward. So the President of the United States ordered you to stop investigating Chinese espionage. No one spoke. The silence that followed was deafening. Across the country, millions of viewers stared at their screens in disbelief. The truth was laid bare. American war plans had been sold to China. The FBI had been ordered to bury the investigation, and the Defense Secretary himself had profited from it. This was no longer politics. This was betrayal on a scale no one had imagined possible. Krishnamoorthi's voice rose, not in anger but in something deeper, something like sorrow. Secretary Hegseth, Director Patel, your actions represent the most catastrophic breach of American security in history. You sold our defenses. You silenced our investigators. You placed every American soldier in danger for money. He paused, looking directly into the cameras. And for the American people watching, understand this. China did not simply buy our secrets. They bought our silence. They bought our willingness to look away. As his words echoed through the chamber, Hegseth and Patel gathered their papers with trembling hands. Their careers, their reputations, their illusions of control, all of it had ended in less than 2 hours. That night, the nation trembled. 2 FBI whistleblowers came forward with corroborating evidence. 3 Pentagon officials requested protective custody. The Justice Department launched investigations for treason and obstruction. News anchors called it the 84 seconds that changed everything. But for the men and women of the armed forces, those 84 seconds meant something far more personal.